The Hitsville EQ Collection from UAD. The Hitsville EQ Collection from the UAD Hitsville Collection. That's what I'm doing. Greetings, everybody. Nick DiVirgilio here, and today we're going to take a quick tour through the UAD Hitsville EQ Collection. Let's go. In this collection, you get two variations of the magical graphic EQs that were used to create the iconic Motown Sound, precisely modeled from the original custom-built units with the help of the engineers that designed and used these pieces every single day. They modeled everything too, the amplifiers, the transformers, and everything else it took to create those custom studio units. They sound incredibly authentic, and they're really easy to use. So let's get into it. This plugin will run inside of any major DAW, and you can also use any audio interface. Today I'm using the RME Babyface Pro, a very cool audio interface. And it's definitely worth mentioning that you could buy this exact plugin individually if you like. There's a great collection of UAD plugins to check out, so if you want any more information, make sure to click on the link in the description below. Like I mentioned earlier, you get two EQs in this collection. I'm calling this one the sort of regular version. You put this on your single channels. You can use this on stereo tracks for sure, but this is more of a regular EQ. And then you have what they call the mastering version. They used to use an EQ just like this to make their masters at Motown. So you get all of the analog EQ goodness inside of this mastering EQ. But you can use this on individual tracks, on stereo tracks inside your mix. You don't have to just use this on your master bus. You can get creative with any of these plugins. So let's quickly run through the, quote, regular version right here. The engineers that designed this EQ specifically chose 7 fixed EQ bands. Now that's what makes this EQ so easy to use. The EQ bands are already chosen for you. Just grab the knobs and turn. You want a little high end? Turn up some 12.5, a little 5K right there, some 2000, and down to the bottom you have 50 down here. A little down, a little up, whatever you want to do, you just turn the knobs. It's so simple to use. Like all of these great UAD plugins, they come with a ton of amazing presets, so make sure you take advantage of these presets. Just open up the preset browser. They're all set to tag, so you can just type in something like, say, drums, the top, and all the drum-related settings will come up here. Or you can type in something like, say, vocals, or what have you, and then vocal presets will show up. Make sure you take advantage there because they could be exactly what you're looking for, or they could just be great starting points, then you can tweak from there. The mastering EQ has so many great features to it. You can independently EQ the left and right channels. So this is the right channel here on the bottom, left channel is on top, and it tells you over here on the side, left and right side. You can also link the two channels together by using this switch down here below. You do get the 7 fixed frequency bands on the mastering EQ, but you also get an additional 7 fixed frequency bands by just switching the frequency knob over here to half. This is called half speed. When they made the masters at Motown way back in the day, they would master the records. I don't know if they did this all the time, but they definitely did it some of the time when they would master at half speed, which gave just the songs more punch and more life, and they can make them hotter and all of those kinds of things. So with this knob right here, go to half speed, and then you get all of these other frequency bands, 25, 65, 160, and so on. And a great feature is you don't have to turn on all of them if you don't want to. If you click on any of the bands in red, a little white grease mark pencil will show up. That means that particular band is at the half speed. So this one at 5,000 is now at 2,500. You can switch back to the regular frequency by clicking on the red piece right there, or you can reset all of them by switching the frequency knob back to normal, and it resets everything. Down here at the bottom of the plugin, you have the switch to link the two channels or unlink them. They modeled all the filters that were in the original mastering unit. These filters would clean up the frequencies that they didn't want when they were making their masters, so switch through them and check out the sounds for yourself. They also put in here a mid-side mode. In mid-side mode, you can EQ the mid channel, which is basically all of your mono content, or you could think of it as everything shared between your two speakers. So you can EQ the mid channel separately from the side channel. And the side channel is all the stuff that's not shared between the two speakers. Say you pan a vocal or a guitar line or something like that to the far right or the far left. That's not shared by the two speakers. And you can EQ that separately if you like. Now, if you're new to mid-side EQing, don't worry about it. You can just leave it off. But again, check out all of the fantastic presets that they have inside of this particular mastering plugin. If you see the letters MS on any of the preset names here, that's a mid-side EQ setting. turn it on, put it on your master bus, your whole mix of your song, and check out what the sounds are doing, what the EQ is doing to the sound of your song, and your ear will start to get trained on what a MidSide EQ sounds like. Now let's stop all the talking and go through some examples of these great EQs. I'm going to take you through a few different things inside the song. First thing to start with is the vocal, the lead vocal of this tune. It's me singing, so hopefully you like the sound of my voice. It's a song that we recorded here at Sweetwater. It's a cool piece to demonstrate these plugins for you. So let me play a couple of bars. This is the beginning of the song, so you can hear what's going on, and then we'll solo the vocal. Here we go.
Reach down, hold the sound, feel light, super tight.
It's a nice sounding clean vocal, but let's do this. Let's check out one of the presets. I'm going to type in the word vocal here, and better lead vocal. I'm sure it's going to make my lead vocal way better because it says it right there. Let's see what it sounds like. All right, let's check out what they did here before we even listen. They turned up a lot of the high end, 12.5, 5,000, and 2,000. Rolled back a little bit of the 320, added a little bit of 130. So, kind of boosted a little bit of low end and brightened it up a little bit. Here's what it sounds like.
Reach down, hold the sound, feel light, super tight.
Without the EQ.
Smile once, and then again.
Back in.
Sweeter things are in the air.
So like a lot of these great UAD plugins, they're transparent. They're just adding that ear candy that you're not going to really pay too close attention to unless you get totally crazy with it, which you could do if you like, of course. But we're just looking to make it sound a little bit better and sit in the mix more so it complements all the rest of the instruments. Complements all the rest of the instruments is what I meant to say. All right, let's solo that vocal and check that out one more time. First with the EQ off, and then I'll turn it back on. Here we go.
Reach down, hold the sound,
In.
feel light,
Yeah.
super tight.
Back out.
Smile once, and then again.
Back in.
Sweeter things are in the air.
So I can tell it just added a nice bit of brightness to air to the top of the sound, which is really cool. Now let's check out this EQ on the background vocals. Okay, the background vocals. These were sung by Annika Bovender. Annika works here in the marketing department with us here at Sweetwater. She's a fantastic singer. There's a bunch of Annika layered right here in this tune. So I'm going to play it first without the EQ, and then we'll go through a preset and just see what we can do with the sound. So here it is, pre-EQ'd. Very nice. Let's hear it soloed. Now let's see if we can find a preset for Annika's vocals. I'm going to type in vocal up here in the tag setting. Oh, there's a couple right on top here. Background vocals. Let's try that. What did it do here? So it turned down a little bit of the 50 hertz. They're very, very low end. Turned up 130, a little bit low end, so it gave it a little bit of low end bump. The low mids, it scooped it down a little bit to 320, and then turned everything else up a little bit. Let's see what it sounds like. I'll start with it off as it gets started, and then I'll turn it on. Here we go. Now in. So that did quite a bit because it turned up a lot of the high end. Let me put it back in the track and see if that's too much or maybe it's just perfect. Let's see. Sounds awfully nice. Let's listen to it without the EQ in. It's good there too, but boy, I like it with the EQ on. I'm going to bring back the volume just a tiny bit here when we play it back, because it was a little loud. Let's check it out with the EQ in and the volume turned down just a tiny bit. Here we go. Yeah, it sounds really nice. It added some air to the top end. It makes it stick out in the mix. You know, there's a lot going on here with bass and keyboards and all kinds of stuff. And now this EQ just made those background vocals just nice and airy, hanging over the top of the whole track. Very cool. The next example we're going to check out with this great EQ is a guitar. Now the guitar is playing a little funky, dry, very dry line, and this is what it sounds like without the EQ. Pretty simple. Let me solo it for you really quick. Strat guitar sound, dry, kind of muted when he picked it. So now let's see if we can't find a preset for this and then EQ it. G-U-I-T-A-R for guitar. Boy, there's all kinds of things in here. Now, since this is a dry and clean sound inside the track, I'm going to pick the preset that says guitar clean. Let's see what that one does. So you could see it did quite a bit in this preset. Turned down a bunch of the really low end, gave a little boost to 130, scooped out the low mids at 320, cranked up, well, not really cranked up, just a little bit. It gave 1 to 2 to these other bands right here, 800, 2000, and 5000, but it turned down to 12,500 a bit. So let's see what this sounds like. Okay, that's off. On. Oh, that's nice. Back off. Now to my ear, since I've been doing this a long time, I can hear what's going on here. Scooping out that ultra low end down at 50, it cleaned out the sort of mud that's there. It gave a little more life to that sound. And I was thinking initially when I saw the preset, the changes here, that the turning down of the 12,500 might be too much, but it wasn't like that at all. Since you boosted 5 and 2K, you are still adding a little shimmer to the top. You're just turning down the ultra high shimmer stuff. It sounds really nice. Let's put this in the track. Here we go. EQ back in. Yeah. Back off. Back in. To me, it makes that guitar sound sit much better in the mix. But let's play that one more time, and I'm going to turn up this 12,500 that they turned down, and see if I like it any better. All right, let's turn it up. Well, cranking up that 12,500 band all the way up to 5 was really just a slight difference in the really high end, added a little bit more air, and if I was really mixing this song right now, I would probably turn that up and keep it there, but that's what makes these plugins so cool and so easy to use. The knobs are right there. Turn them when you like the sound. You're good to go. Other fantastic uses for this EQ are on the drums, of course. So first we're going to start with the snare drum. Plugin's right there. It's at the default setting, so nothing is on right now. Here's what the sound of the drums sound like on their own. Not bad. Let's find a snare preset and start from there and see what we got. There's all kinds of presets in here. What kind of mood am I in? What do we think here? Let's go for snare girth. Oh yeah, see, boosted up a little bit of 130. Also 2,000 and 5,000, left the rest the same. Let's see what this does. EQ out. Back in. I love this plugin. That added just enough of a little more body to the snare drum sound. Turning up the 5,000 to 4 here really added a little bit of air to the top end, but not too much. It didn't make it all of a sudden too bright. For the rest of the drum kit, it did a really great job. Now here's the snare drum solo, first with the EQ off, and then I'll turn it on. Here we go. Good sounding drum. Here's the EQ. Can you tell the difference? Back out. Back in. A little more body and a little more air to the sound. Now we're going to get to the mastering EQ, but before I put it on the master bus and we check that out, I want to show you what the mastering EQ sounds like on a stereo channel inside your song. I'm putting it on the drum overheads. All right, here's what the overheads sound like just on their own. There's nothing else going on. These are just the 2 overhead mics. Sounding good. It's a little bit dark. I'm sure this great EQ is going to do something for that. I'm going to go to a preset over here. Now, I already knew that there was drum overhead presets over here, so I typed in overheads. If you would have just typed in drum, it will come up that way as well. It says drum overheads right there. Let's pick that one first and then see what changes the EQ makes for us. So as you can see, there's dip and peak for each band. If you have it on dip and you turn the knob, it will turn that frequency down. And if you have it on peak, it'll turn it up. It's really that simple. So it's turned up a little bit of the 12,500 and the 5,000. Let's see. It dipped a little bit of the 400 and turned up pretty much everything else. Let's see what it sounds like. All right. Now let's turn the EQ off. Here's off. Back on. Now, if for some reason you didn't hear the difference when I turned the EQ on and off there, it's probably just because you just need to do this more. Once you hear those subtle changes in an EQ and the difference they make inside of a song, it's pretty mind-blowing. The light bulb will go off and you'll go, wow, I didn't know just that little bit would make such a huge difference. Since the plugin turned up the low end of the overhead sound here, you heard the beef, the body of the sound come through more. It also gave me a little bit more of the 800. And then again, it turned up some of the higher end over here. And these are small, subtle changes. You have from 0 to 8 on these knobs. And they're only going up to 2, 1, 1, and so on. So the littlest tweak can make a huge difference. With all that being said, let's check it out again, and I'll turn some more knobs as I play this time. Okay, now here comes the EQ. 3, 4. Yeah, could you hear the low end, the roundness kind of get boosted a little bit? Let me crank the high end up a little bit for you too. Oh, it's making a big difference in the 5,000 range. Back off. Yeah, it's a huge difference there, right? So again, just tweak the knobs, turn the knobs, and see how it changes the sound, and you'll train your ears to hear these EQ differences for sure. Now let's use this great EQ on the master bus. So this is on the whole mix on my master fader over here. This is what it looks like. We've already gone through all the controls. Now let's check out some of these presets. There's so many great things in here. An easy way to start here is to go down to where it says Mix Bus, and you have all kinds of options. What sounds good to me right now? Mix just sounds better. Oh yeah, I need this mix to sound better. Let's make it happen. Pick that preset. You can see it made a whole bunch of changes. Let's start with the EQ out, and then I'll turn it on in just a couple of bars. Here we go. On. Big difference. Back off. Back on. Very nice. It really added some nice life to the whole mix. Just think about it like when you're in your car or you're listening to your home stereo and you want to add a little bit of brightness, you go for the treble knob and you turn it up. Well, with this great EQ, you can get really specific with the band, the specific band of treble that you turn up, and really sculpt the sound of your whole song. Now, let's check out some of these mid-side examples very quickly here. Over here in the tags, there's an arrow. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to pick mid-side, and these are the mid-side examples we have to choose from. The mix, fuller and wider. That's what we want, right? Let's check it out. So, pick that. You see the changes that it made. Let's start with the EQ out, and then we'll turn it on. Here we go. Here we go. In. Whoa. All right, now check this out. See if you can hear this. When I first played the song without the EQ in, the Rhodes patch was there for sure, but it wasn't too wide. When I put the EQ on with this mid-side settings that they have here, the Rhodes all of a sudden went, wow, it was nice and wide, but it didn't overtake the whole song. Check this out. This is very cool. So it's there, right? Now listen to it. 3, 4. Whoa. Isn't that a neat effect? So there's so many great examples of how to use this EQ right from the presets. And like I mentioned a few times already in this video, after you get a nice starting point with one of the presets or you just started on your own, don't be afraid to get in there and turn those knobs and sculpt your song exactly how you want to sculpt it. And there you go. This is such a cool plugin. It sounds great and is so easy to use. And remember, you can buy this plugin, this exact plugin, individually if you like. So make sure you go to sweetwater.com, contact your Sweetwater sales engineer, or click the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm Nick DiVirgilio.